Okay, so identity. We're going to be talking about that today. The learning objective for this lesson is that you will understand that identities are made up of different characteristics. You will be aware that identities have many things in common, but differences too. And then you will be able to describe your individual identity. The first question I want you guys to think about is what makes up our identities? If you're in a public place with lots of people, what are the first things you notice? What are the first characteristics you notice about strangers? Examples: gender, hairstyle, etc. And then write one characteristic per sticky note. Ooh, this one's good. What store they're in. That's a good observation. I like that. Maybe you're saying like, oh, they're at Hot Topic. Maybe they like Hot Topic stuff. Or, oh, they're at Kohl's, or something like that. Clothing, I see a lot of clothing. Clothing is a very common one up here. Posture, that's interesting. I don't normally notice someone's posture, but that's because I have naturally bad posture because I have a crooked spine. Curly hair, ethnicity, and race. Interesting. I'm glad one of you wrote that. All right, what makes up our identities? So, if you guys didn't know, there are two different types of identities. There are social identities. These include things that we do not choose. These are things that we are born with, or things that are part of our family identity that we are born into. Some of those things can include race, ethnicity, our age, our sex, sexual orientation, class, religion, etc. Now, there's also a thing called personal identity. These include things we choose or characteristics we would attribute to ourselves, personality traits, beliefs, values, hobbies, interests, style. So, both social and personal identities affect the way that we are viewed in society and the way that we view others. So, if we're going to do this little exercise, I can pull up the screen, but I have my whiteboard already written. So, where would you put hair? Would you put hair in social identity or personal identity?
It could be both.
I would say it actually could be both. I think that's a good distinction, Landon. Because style of hair, more personal, but texture of hair, that's social. You can't like choose that, right? Outfit. Where would you put outfit? Personal. Good. All right. Race and ethnicity. Which one would you put that one?
Social.
Social. Good. Here's another ethnicity. Posture.
Personal or social, so both. Because you have social identity with your posture.
Okay. Oh, and that one just fell. So we'll put posture in the middle. That one's kind of hard to distinguish. Facial expression. I think that's more personal. And then gender. Where would you put gender?
Social.
Social. All right, good. So you guys get the gist.
I was born on July 27th. That makes me a Leo. I don't really know what that means. I'm 5'6", I weigh 145 pounds, I don't know how to swim, and I'm a sucker for a girl with a nice smile and clean sneakers. I'm still learning how to whisper. I'm often loud in places where I should be quiet. I'm often quiet in places where I should be loud. I was born feet first, and I've been backwards ever since. I like ginger ale. A lot. I've been told that I give really bad hugs. People say it feels like I'm trying to escape. Sometimes it's because I am. Secretly, I get really nervous every time someone gets close enough to hear me breathe. I have this odd fascination with things like sandcastles and ice sculptures. I assume it's because I usually find myself dedicating time to things that will only last a few moments. That's also why I tend to fall in love with women who will never love me back. I know it sounds crazy, but it's actually much easier than it seems. And to be honest, I think it's safer that way. See, relationships, they often remind me that I'm not afraid of heights or falling, but I'm scared of what's gonna happen the moment that my body hits the ground. I'm clumsy. Yesterday, I tripped over my self-esteem. I landed on my pride, and it shattered like an iPhone with a broken face. Now I can't even tell who's trying to give me a compliment. I've never been in the military, but I have this purple heart. I got it from beating myself up over things I can't fix. I know this sounds weird, but sometimes I wonder what my bed sheets say about me when I'm not around. I wonder what the curtains would do if they found out about all the things I've done behind their backs. I've got a hamper that's overflowing with really, really loud mistakes and a graveyard in my closet. I'm afraid that if I let you see my skeletons, you'll grind my bones into powder and get high on my fault lines. Hi, my name is Rudy. I enjoy frozen yogurt, people watching, and laughing for absolutely no reason at all. But I don't allow myself to cry as often as I need to. I have solar power confidence. I have a battery operated smile. My hobbies include editing my life story, hiding behind metaphors, and trying to convince my shadow that I'm someone worth following. I don't know much, but I do know this. I know heaven is full of music. I know God listens to my heartbeat on his iPod. It reminds him that we still got work to do.
What identities was he really using? Was he using mostly social identities or personal identities?
Social.
We can either do this one or two ways. We can do this as just like a verbal reflection, so you guys just participate in this discussion, and or on the other side of the paper, you answer these questions. How do we want to do this? Do we want to do this as a verbal reflection or as a written reflection? Kenzie's saying verbal. How many of you would want to do a verbal reflection? Raise your hand. Look at your list of identities. What three identities are most significant or important to you and why?
My ethnicity, sexual orientation, and values.
Your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, and your values. Good. Thank you, Kenzie. Ray.
My interests, my values, and my religion.
And your religion. Good. Thank you, Ray. What about you, Liv?
My hobbies and interests pretty much the same.
Okay.
And I think values as well.
Values. All of you have said values. I like that. Last but not least, Landon and Abe. Which one of you want to go? Thank you, Landon.
I choose my ethnicity, my interests, and my values.
Your values.
Mine's religion, values, and hobbies.
Good. So all of us have one thing in common. I would say values is definitely the one that I also hold on to very much as well. Values is definitely very important. What three identities do you think strangers notice about you first? I'll go first, since I didn't go. I would say probably the first thing that strangers notice about me is maybe my gender or my sex, my biological sex. I am cisgender, so I do identify with the gender that I was born with. That's probably number one. What about you? What did you guys first notice about me when you first met me? It's okay, be honest. Yes, Ray?
Clothes.
My clothes. Okay. How I dressed. Interesting. Do I dress nice?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What's the third thing that you guys noticed about me when you first met me?
Your attitude and like how you carry yourself.
My attitude and how I carried myself. Okay, I like that. All right. What about you guys? What do you think that strangers first notice about you? Yes, Kenzie.
My age, my sex, and maybe my race or ethnicity.
Okay. So mostly social identities, right? Good. Ray.
My sex, my race, and my personality traits.
Okay. Are you the type of person to wear you wear your heart on your sleeve, so your personality or how you're feeling, it's very obvious to other people? Okay, so why do you think people notice your personality traits?
Because I'm very shy.
Oh, so they notice that you're shy. Got it. Let's have one more person go. Thank you, Landon.
They would probably notice my sex, my height, and how menacing I look in
How-
all black.
How menacing you look?
Yeah, because I normally wear all black.
Okay. And with your glasses as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Are these two lists the same? So what they mean by that is the list of identities that are most significant to you, and then what people notice about you. Are they the same? How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel, the fact that what you find important about your identity is sometimes not what others notice about you? Yes, Ray?
It can be a little annoying because a lot of people notice that I'm a white girl.
Okay.
And, to be honest here, a lot of African American boys have called me cracker.
Okay.
Just because, like, sometimes I can be really hyper.
Okay.
So it can be really annoying because I'm not like that. And one of my values is really against that stuff because I've had a lot of personal experience with it.
Gotcha. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Kenzie?
I think it's kind of sad because when you first meet someone, you judge them based off of their looks, even if you don't mean it, and not based off of their values.
Yeah. I agree with that. How are different aspects of your identity perceived or responded to differently in different situations? And most people wouldn't think, when I'm like out and about doing my errands, especially on the weekends, most people wouldn't think I was a teacher. Especially with my tattoos. When the weather's nice, I might be wearing a tank top, or, maybe have a shorter shirt, or maybe I'm wearing capris. And most people would look at me and think, oh, that person's not a teacher.
People think I'm older.
People think you're older, okay.
It's because of how mature I normally am around other people, and how deep my voice is and how tall I am.
Gotcha, yeah. Height, voice, that sort of thing.
If you're in a different situation, normally at school I'm a little quieter. Whereas like if I'm out and about, like maybe at a convention,
Okay.
I'll call out like, hello people.
Uh-huh.
Whereas at school I'm kind of like, want to stay in the corner, but
Gotcha.
I kind of try to be brave and put myself out there.
Okay.
I'm not so good at it sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we're in social situations where we feel comfortable, and maybe our more authentic self starts showing. And then we are in social situations at times where we're not as comfortable, to where maybe we're more guarded, or more reserved, or we're not as authentic as we want ourselves to be. Mackenzie, did you have something to add?
So like when I'm with my family, because on my mom's side we're white and on my dad's side we're Hispanic.
Okay.
So if I'm like with my cousins and we get pulled over, I'm getting treated differently by the police because I'm more white passing than they are. And with my mom's family, they can be kind of racist and say things that are very insensitive, but they don't realize it.
Gotcha. And I think that's actually an issue that multiple people that come from biracial or multi-ethnic backgrounds. Today, you will use your list of identities from the previous lesson to create a visual representation of your identity. This is actually a lot of fun. I did this over the weekend, guys, and I actually had like a kind of a cool and interesting time doing it. I'm going to share my visual representation with you, and I will also be sharing Miss Jetto's with you. All right. You can use words, pictures, or combination of the two to represent yourself. Include both social and personal identities, and you will be asked to share with a partner, so don't put anything that you don't feel comfortable in sharing. Okay. I don't know about you, but I am a quote person. What's better yet than to do multiple quotes from people that I admire, or movies or shows or bands that I admire that have something to do with me and my personal life and or my social identity. And this is how I decided to show my identity through a variance of different quotes. This is Miss Jetto's, and she did some words, but also mostly just like cool designs, right? She put the American flag because she identifies as American. She put the mountains because she's a Colorado native. She put MSU, which is funny because I also went to MSU. That's Metro State. She put a Pokemon ball, which I think is lovely because she is like super into Pokemon, and so am I. I love Pokemon. And then other things, cats, dogs. She loves animals. Aurora, which is where she lives and also where she grew up.